get this. Call to order the Beach Park Village Board meeting, and if the clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Gus.
Here.
Trustee Hucker.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Otterson.
Here.
Trustee Siddick.
Here.
Trustee Wells.
Here.
Clerk Savengros and Attorney Magna.
If you would all please rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have tonight the consent agenda, including the approval of the board minutes from June 14th and bills presented for payment as of June 25th, as well as a financial report. Are there any of these that would like to be discussed separately by the board? Would the public request anything to be discussed separately? If not, then I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gus.
Aye.
Trustee Hucker.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Otterson.
Aye.
Trustee Siddick.
Aye.
And Trustee Wells.
Motion carries. Trustee reports. I have no report for Building and Zoning and TIF Committee tonight. We have Public Works. Trustee Otterson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's one thing on the agenda under Public Works this evening. It is just a text amendment in the section of the ordinance that relates to the vacation of unimproved right-of-ways or right-of-ways when there's a request. You'll notice what we've done is we've just officially changed the procedure so that a few members of the staff, some of our consultants and specialists, go over the situation first before it doesn't come to the Public Works Committee anymore and have us say, oh, I don't know, is there a value for that from a planning standpoint, or is a value for that from a zoning or whatever, and then have to send it to staff anyways. It's going to go to the staff first, and then they'll make a recommendation to the full board as to whether or not it makes sense to vacate that particular right-of-way. So I would make a motion that we amend Section 12.04.290 of the Village Code pertaining to the procedure for vacating of village streets or portions thereof.
It's ordinance 20.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a couple of seconds. Any discussion? I think Mark is excited about this one passing.
I would think so.
Yeah, I did a little bit of whining about this, didn't I?
For years.
Well, you didn't have to say that. This will streamline the process. It won't get held up in our committee for hours wondering whether or not we should be thinking about it or not. So
Excellent.
it's a good thing.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Hucker.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Otterson.
Aye.
Trustee Siddick.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Trustee Gus.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And that would conclude the items listed under Public Works.
Thank you. We have Public Relations and Economic Development Report. Trustee Miller.
Thank you, Your Honor, but no report tonight.
I said all that for nothing.
All that. Right?
Intergovernmental Affairs. Trustee Wells.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no report tonight.
I'm running out of steam here. Trustee Gust, anything from Parks and Recreation?
I won't let you down.
All right.
The village-wide garage sale went well. A little warm that day, but it did go well. Saturday night when we had the movie, Mark can vouch for this, and Mary, we had the movie screen blow over.
Oh.
We got it back up, finished out the movie, and I think everybody had a good time. Shortly thereof, it started to rain a little bit.
Not enough.
That was good. The farmers market's going well across the street. We had two farmers from Wisconsin, Maury?
Yeah.
So it's going well. We have concession stand is doing well over at the park. Busy place these days. Other than that, things are going well with the
Good.
Parks and Rec. And that ends my report.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Public Safety Committee. Trustee Siddick.
Thank you. I just have one item to to bring up, and this is, just this past Tuesday, we actually had the adult internet safety class that had taken place. We had an excellent turnout for this class. Certainly like to thank staff for helping me coordinate that, and Trustee Miller for her help with that. What was real nice about the Sheriff's Department came in and did a presentation. We had a nice active crowd that really participated, but they also had given me some great ideas as to what they would like to see in the near future from personal experiences that they have had, not only with email frauds, but also the people knocking on their doors or calling their telephones, and, just one thing led into another. So the Sheriff's Office said that they have a program that way that they can come in and cover those items as well, so I look forward to doing that in the near future as well.
Very good.
So that's all I have. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Linda, how many people we have showed up?
We had 20, I want to say it was 24 people.
That's great.
Yep. And they'll tell 24 people, and they'll tell 24 people.
That's right, especially because we had, staff had set out cookies and bottled water, so I'm wondering if they were here for the cookies or if they were here for the class, but it all turned out well.
Good deal, good deal. All right. Village Treasurer's report.
No report tonight.
Right. And the village engineer looks like she's got a lineup for us.
I actually do. Thank you, Mayor. The first item is the resolution for the 2012 MFT street resurfacing program. That was included in the board's packets. And as required by IDOT, the resolution outlines the 2012 resurfacing program dollar amount, and the summary in the letter said which streets are going to be resurfaced, which are going to be patched, and then there's also going to be some crack sealing done this year. We developed the list of streets based on work with the Public Works staff and Public Works Committee, and based on the pavement analysis that was done in earlier this year, as well as looking at traffic and looking at grouping of streets together. So this is the list of streets that we came up with, so we're looking for the board to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
It's
Any-
Resolution 8.
All right. Do we have any discussion? No discussion. Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Otterston.
Aye.
Trustee Siddick.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Trustee Gus.
Aye.
Trustee Hopper.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. And then related to that, the engineering services agreement for the 2012 MFT street maintenance program. These numbers are consistent with the resolution, and it outlines the engineering fees actually are less than the acceptable fee by IDOT, so the dollar amount here is $13,750. That is a not to exceed for basically the scope that is outlined in the resolution.
All right.
I would make a motion to approve that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this resolution 09. Any discussion? None? Roll call, please.
Trustee Otterston.
Aye.
Trustee Siddick.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Trustee Gus.
Aye.
Trustee Hopper.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is a revised engineering agreement, actually noted as supplement number 1, for the Beach Road project. I don't know how much detail you want me to go into on the reason for this. The board did approve a prior version of this back in March. The dollar amount has not changed, but what we've done is originally we had included some people from our Southern Illinois office because they had certain certifications, and now we have those certifications in our local office. So IDOT has asked us to revise it in our contract in this manner with the village. So I can explain more if you want, or it's up to you guys.
I think as long as the dollar amount didn't change, we're all okay with
Okay.
the idiosyncrasies of the IDOT requirements. I would make a motion to approve the amended contract.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
Question. Madam Engineer, can you give us any kind of insights into the actual start of the construction?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we have, well, IDOT has the pre-construction meeting scheduled for late in July. We're trying to move that up, because a priority for the village, if possible, is to get the substantial completion done yet this year, this construction season. We've talked to the contractor, Campanella. They've indicated that they want to do that as well and are able to do that. So, in the meantime, while I'm still waiting for IDOT's response, trying to get the pre-con meeting moved up, we're having our own pre-con next Monday with the contractor, and then I'm working with village staff to schedule both an emergency vehicles and school meeting to go over the details with them on schedule, as well as then a resident meeting. So probably in the next 2 weeks, we'll have those meetings, and then I'm assuming Campanella will be ready to start either right at the time or right before that scheduled meeting with IDOT.
We don't have any time restrictions, do we, on completion of this, like year end?
No, in fact, that's only a self-imposed restriction that we'd like to have it done by then, but no, in fact, IDOT's completion, their scheduled completion date is the end of next construction season, I believe. So.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Siddick.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Trustee Gus.
Aye.
Trustee Tucker.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Addison.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And then the last item on my list is the annual update for the NPDES, which is the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System. It's a permitting that's required by the US EPA, and we are required to do an annual report, which was due down at Illinois EPA at the end of May. The village has copies of this in-house with staff, and it's also, as one of the requirements of US EPA, is that it's posted on the village's website, which it is posted there, so if you want to go through the details, it's there. But basically what this report does is it outlines the activities and documents the activities that the village has done over the past year to comply with the stormwater maintenance and management practices. So things like street sweeping and your advertising of cleanup and drop-off days with Swalco, articles in the newsletter, those kinds of things, meetings that we have with Public Works staff to just make sure that the processes are being followed appropriately. Those are all in here. So I just wanted to give you an update and address any questions if you had any.
It's awful quiet over here.
That ends my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Village Coordinator's Report, we have the consideration of the village liability insurance renewal. Is anyone specifically addressing that from staff? If not, I'd be happy to take the ball on that. We have a renewal due for our village liability insurance. You have in your packet a couple of letters and a quote from Leach Bridges for the renewal. We have in our midst tonight Jim Leach, who is willing to answer any questions. Does anyone want to hear him talk?
I don't want to hurt his feelings.
Jeez.
Well, Jim,
I've heard him talk before, it's not all that interesting. All these numbers and stuff.
Jim, maybe you could just give us a brief outline of where we're at, and absolutely, please.
The program is the comprehensive program that insures all your buildings, your contents, your equipment, all your vehicles, your autos, your trucks. And then in the liability area, it's got all the liability for general liability for the slip and falls, like at the park, here, anywhere that's village property. It also provides separate liability coverage for errors and omissions coverage for trustees, village officials. There's another category. We do have law enforcement. You do not have a police force, but you contract law enforcement. So for your concern, your consideration, the village is protected. case something happens out of your contract with the sheriff, Lake County Sheriff. So you'd be protected in that area. And then you also have a separate limit for employees' practice liability for harassment, discrimination, et cetera, on that coverage. So this program we've been writing for a number of years. You had been with the Travelers Insurance Company. They're a big player in public municipality insurance. We quote this and look at it every year. 4 years ago, Travelers, we had a little concern over the law enforcement. They didn't want to do it. And then their pricing was getting a little higher, and it still is getting higher. So we switched over to HCC, A+ rated, that you've got that information. So this is a guaranteed program, A+ rated company, so there's no assessment ever. You could have these claims in any of the areas, slip and falls, the law enforcement, what have you. The coverage will pay for it, and that's it. Okay, so you're paying the premium for the year, and that's it. It's occurrence coverage. So the good news is that HCC, you've had a very good track record. You're a well-run village. You don't have claims, incidences, et cetera. So we'll just say that that's a compliment to how well-run you are. And so they've kept the premium flat. I mean, you're basically $40,000 last year, $40,000 this year. Municipality insurance is kind of specialized. Not every company writes errors and omissions, writes law enforcement. So this is a real good program, has a lot of things in it, and really pleased that we were able to keep everything the same in an environment where actually the companies are trying to raise their prices 5 or 10%. So that's in essence the overview of what you have here in front of you tonight.
One of the things that we asked you to quote was some options on, specifically on the umbrella liability. I see that increasing that liability from $3 million to $5 million is really a nominal cost considering the increase in coverage. Have you got any comment on that?
Well, and that good point. You carry on top of the primary coverages of the law enforcement, the general liability, and the E&O is you carry a $3 million umbrella. An umbrella gives you excess limits of liability. So, if you did have a bad accident, somebody got hurt at the park, you've got really 1 plus 3, so you've got $4 million, and your defense costs are outside the limits. So whatever attorney fees run up to defending you, that's extra. So in this day and age, how much is enough? You're grown, you have a lot going on. So the umbrella was just, if we wanted to have a little higher limits, the cheapest way to do it is to increase the umbrella, and so it's basically $750 a million to go up. So it's $1,500 to increase that from a 3 to a 5.
Okay.
Who writes the umbrella?
It's all with HCC. Yeah, it's all the same.
Does any of the board have any additional questions for Jim?
I just think you wrote a really nice explanation in your letter about going out to other markets for competitive bids. I really
Okay.
appreciate knowing that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I also appreciate your going out and soliciting other markets and also holding our premium amount of $35 over last year. We appreciate that.
Okay, you're welcome, and we do. You've been a great group to work with, all you people, and so we're happy that the program has been that good.
All right.
Are we deciding tonight whether
Yes,
we're
actually,
wanting to increase the umbrella, or?
what I was preparing to do was to make a motion to increase the umbrella from 3 to 5, as well as to accept the quote as it is presented with that change.
And John, do you say an extra $1,500?
$1,500.
1,500, yes. So I would make that in the form of a motion. I'm going to actually make a motion from this chair.
I will second it.
And we have a second. Any further discussion? All right, there being none, roll call, please.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Trustee Dodds.
Aye.
Trustee Hunker.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Jim.
I take back what I said about him not being a good speaker. That was fantastic.
I thought he did good.
That was very nice. Thank
Did
you.
good.
That was some other Jim.
That was a different Jim Leach. I don't know.
Okay, village attorney's report.
Briefly, Mayor, every year during the month of June, the state requires that each public body pass a prevailing wage ordinance, and that ordinance is before you this evening. The sum and substance of the ordinance is that for every public works contract that is required to pay prevailing wages, you have your ordinance in place, which requires a number of things from your contractors, one of which is to get a certified payroll. The attached list of prevailing wages is compiled and published by the Illinois Department of Labor, and our snapshot month is June. It can change every month. It has not changed monthly significantly for quite some time. But within the ordinance, you also incorporate any additional changes for the next 12 months going forward to that rate of prevailing wages. The source of the prevailing wage determination is essentially what's being paid in Lake County for public works type projects, construction projects, landscaping projects, and a lot of it is weighted by union scale wages. You are not required to require of your contractors that they be union contractors, but you are required to pay have your contractors pay the prevailing rate of wage. The certified payroll is something that's of recent vintage, the last few years, that requires your contractors, and usually at least your significant projects are administered through your village engineer. And with the certified payroll, there is a checking of the wages paid against the prevailing wages. They have to at least be the same as in the chart of prevailing wages, or they can be greater, of course. But it is a floor on the rate of wages that are to be paid by public bodies for their public works and qualifying contracts. It's a mandate. Not to pass something, not to pass this subjects you to, as a village, to potential liability to pay the difference if your contractors are not paying prevailing rate of wages. Pay the difference to the employee, to the worker. So you insulate yourself by passing it, publishing the required notice that it's been passed, then obtaining and checking the certified payrolls on the projects. That way, the village is completely insulated from any claim of payment of non-prevailing wages. Not to do this subjects you to that claim.
21.
We need a motion to approve ordinance 21,
So moved.
asserting the prevailing wage.
Second.
I'll finish reading the title tonight. The prevailing rate of wages for laborers, workmen, and mechanics employed in public works over this public body. We have a motion and a second. And by way of discussion, our attorney did a very good job of explaining the ordinance and why it's important for us to pass it. And I would certainly never recommend that we would not take that advice and pass this ordinance. I am bound by my values not to vote for this ordinance, which puts the rest of you in a position of needing to come up with enough votes to pass it. There's my one selfish act out of the year. This is an unfunded mandate by the state of Illinois to require wages be paid at a higher rate than many contractors, in fact, most contractors in the state are willing to work for. This is a payback for supporting certain candidates over the years. In this time of need in government, in this time of short funding and unbalanced budgets, this is a ludicrous law to have on the books, and I think it's high time that this law goes away. But it has to go away at the state level. It can't go away at the local level. So, on that note, roll call. Any additional discussion? Don't want to cut anybody else off, but, all right. I've said my piece. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gus?
Aye.
Trustee Hucker?
No.
Trustee Miller?
Aye.
Trustee Otteson?
Aye.
Trustee Siddick?
Aye.
And Trustee Wells?
Aye.
Motion carries. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Village clerk?
I have one.
No mayor's report tonight, no cause for an executive session. Now would be the time for any citizen that would wish to address the board to rise, come to the podium, state your name and your case. Don't all go at once. All right. And I should watch what I ask for, shouldn't I?
Yes, you should.
Any other business to come before this board? There being none, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Hucker?
Aye.
Trustee Miller?
Aye.
Trustee Otteson?
Aye.
Siddick? Aye. Wells?
We are adjourned.